Hey, and thanks for stopping by. If you're new here, don't forget to subscribe and share this video. It really helps. Tell me in the comments where you're watching from. Your feedback means everything to me. Let's get started. I met Laurel at a friend's backyard cookout one warm May evening. Her laugh was easy, unforced, and she didn't shy away from a spirited debate over the playlist. We didn't fall into some whirlwind romance, but there was an undeniable pull between us. That summer, we began spending more time together. Then, in October, she told me she was pregnant. The news landed like a punch. We'd only been dating 5 months. Parenthood hadn't been on either of our minds, but fate had something else in store. Twins, 1 boy and 1 girl. It wasn't irresponsibility, it was simply unexpected. Still, we chose to stay together and raise them as a team. 2 weeks after the ultrasound, I asked her to marry me. No dramatic gesture, just a quiet meal and a ring slid across the table. She smiled and said yes. We had a courthouse wedding before the babies arrived and moved into a modest 2-bedroom in a calm neighborhood. The early months with Miles and Eva were brutal. Constant feedings, exhaustion, and frayed tempers. Arguments became the soundtrack of our home. Despite all of that, I held on to hope. I kept thinking we'd find our rhythm eventually, but I'd come home from work and see her frozen, staring blankly as the twins cried in the background. I tried offering help, doing what I could, but nothing seemed to reach her. Then one evening, she sat beside me, eyes distant, and said softly, "I can't do this anymore, Jared." I couldn't respond at first. Then she added, "I need something real. This isn't it. I feel like I'm disappearing." I reminded her, "They're not even 7 months old yet." She shook her head slowly. "I can't stay just for them." 2 weeks later, she packed a few things, a suitcase, some boxes, and walked out. She left the twins with me. She never came back. Our divorce unfolded quietly. We agreed to share custody once the kids were older. But in those beginning months, she was just gone. No plan, no support, just me and 2 babies, and the echo of her absence. But I kept going, because I had to. I called my mom, who covered the nights while I worked. I hired a part-time nanny for the days. Sleep was replaced by overtime. My life was reduced to a juggling act, bottles, diapers, and bills. That first year after Laurel left was survival, nothing more. Occasionally, she'd call, not to ask about me, but to check on the kids. I always gave her updates. They're teething now. Eva's already taking steps. Her responses were mechanical, distant. "That's nice," she'd say, like she was hearing about someone else's children. When the twins turned 2, we formalized a custody plan, week on, week off. By then, she had settled into a condo on the other side of town and landed a solid job in sales. Suddenly, she wanted back in. I agreed, not for her, but for Miles and Ava. Those early transitions were rough. The kids clung to me at the door, unsure who she really was. But with time, they adjusted. Children always do. We kept things polite. No screaming matches, no courtroom drama. Holidays were divided, birthdays shared. If one of us bought clothes or school supplies, the other chipped in. We weren't friends, but we kept it practical. Then, she brought up Wesley. It was during a coffee handoff when she mentioned him. "He's reliable, grounded," she said. I nodded, said little. 6 months later, she told me he'd moved in. He had 2 children, Logan and Cassidy, around the same age as ours. She didn't ask my opinion, just stated the facts. "They already feel like siblings," she told me once. "It's like it was always supposed to be this way." I kept out of it. Her home, her choices. At least, that's what I thought. The first time she asked for help, it seemed simple. "Wesley's caught at work and I've got a meeting. Can you pick up Logan and Cassidy when you grab Miles and Eva?" she asked on the phone. I paused. "You mean his kids?" "There are kids now, Jared. They see each other as siblings. But I'm not their father. It's just a ride, she replied. Don't make it bigger than it is. So I agreed. Cassidy had Eva in fits of giggles the whole way home. Honestly, it was kind of sweet. But the next time, she didn't ask. She just texted, "Don't forget Logan and Cassidy when you pick up the twins." That's when I called. "Hold on. This isn't a one-time favor anymore. You're giving me instructions." She sighed. "Jared, they see you as part of the family. You're in their world now." "No," I said. "I'm in my kids' world, and they need boundaries to feel safe. I'm not here to fill in for your new partner." She didn't like hearing that, but she dropped it, for a little while. Then Cassidy's birthday came around. A week before, Laurel texted, "Could you get something nice for Cassidy from you and Eva? I don't want her to feel left out." I replied, "She's not my daughter. If Eva wants to get her a little gift, that's fine, but that's the limit." Her answer came fast. "So you're okay teaching Eva that love only counts when there's a blood connection?" And that's when it hit me. These weren't casual favors. They were tests. Subtle, calculated. She was probing the boundaries, seeing what she could get me to accept. And I knew, if I gave in now, I'd be giving in forever. Then came the next ask, late in the spring. We were doing a drop-off. The kids had already gone inside, and Laurel lingered by the car, clearly rehearsed. "Wesley and I are taking the kids to Lake Haven Resort for a week," she said. I nodded. "Sounds fun." She continued, "It's a bit expensive. Since Miles and Eva are going too, we were hoping you'd contribute." I raised an eyebrow. "You're really expecting me to chip in for a vacation for your kids?" She gave a slight shake of her head. "It's not that we can't afford it. It's more about fairness. We're all raising them together now. If Miles and Eva get something Logan and Cassidy don't, it's going to cause problems." I cut her off before she could go on. "I have no issue covering anything for Miles and Eva, but that's not what this is. You're asking me to finance a trip for your new blended family just to keep the peace. That's not on me." She blinked, trying to maintain a calm tone. "It's about balance." "No, Laurel," I replied evenly. "You made your choice. You picked Wesley. You created this new setup. I didn't agree to it. I'm not going to pay for a vacation for a family I'm not part of, one I don't live with, share meals with, or spend time with." She folded her arms. "So that's a no?" "It's a, you're asking the wrong person." She looked like she had more to say, but I didn't let her get there. "You left me with newborns and went off in search of real love. You found it. Good for you. But don't circle back when that love can't cover the bill." She flinched, just slightly. "And don't try to guilt me for having boundaries," I added, my voice firm. "You walked away. I didn't." Without saying another word, she turned around and went back inside. 2 days later, Wesley showed up at my door. "I just want to talk," he said when I stepped outside. "Then keep it brief," I told him. "This whole thing has become uncomfortable. We're trying to build something good, a family." "You're the ones doing the building," I replied. "I'm not part of that. We were just hoping for a bit more unity." "Then maybe you should have picked someone easier to steamroll." That clearly hit a nerve, but I didn't care. I wasn't going to be anyone's scapegoat anymore. I was done being seen as a resource instead of a father. After the vacation argument, the guilt campaign kicked off fast. First came a message from Laurel's sister, Julia. "Hey, Jared, I know things are tense, but you're still a huge part of all the kids' lives. They really look up to you. That means more than you might realize." I didn't respond. Left the message sitting, unread. Then came a call from Laurel's mother. I hadn't heard from her since Ava's last birthday. "You know I've always cared about you, Jared, but all this back and forth with Laurel, it's getting to the kids. They don't get why Miles and Eva are treated differently. They get what's mine to give," I said simply. "Because they're mine." She lowered her voice like she was handing me some great truth. "A real man steps up, even when it's not easy." That line stuck with me, not because it was wise, but because it was a weapon disguised as wisdom. I didn't want conflict, but I wasn't going to fade into the background of someone else's picture-perfect setup either. Then came the school fundraiser. Miles and Eva were selling coupon books for a weekend trip to an amusement park. I helped them crush their goal. Every benchmark met ahead of schedule. When I told them they'd made the list, Miles could barely contain himself. "We're going, Dad. We really made it." Meanwhile, Logan and Cassidy hadn't even sold 10, and I knew exactly what was coming. That night, Laurel texted, "So, the twins are going, but Logan and Cassidy are really upset. Would you be willing to help a little? Just something small so they don't feel left out?" I didn't answer. The following day, she messaged again. "Jared, this is about sibling bonding. Don't you want Miles and Eva to stay close to them?" I responded with 3 words. "Not my responsibility." And that's when she lost it. If that's your position, maybe we need to look at revisiting custody. In an instant, declining to pay had become a threat to my rights as a father. I didn't react right away. I called my attorney instead. Carla had handled the divorce. When I told her what Laurel had said, she didn't even flinch. "Has she filed anything?" "No, just trying to shake me up." Carla laid out the facts. Laurel had walked out when the twins were still babies. She never paid a dime in support, and my record was impeccable. Every text, every request, every veiled threat, I had saved it all. "If she wants to escalate this," Carla said, "we're prepared." That's why I kept everything, every message, every screenshot, not out of paranoia, out of preparation. I agreed to mediation. Carla advised me to go, stay composed, and state my position clearly. We met in a neutral office downtown. Laurel came with Wesley. I came alone, not because I didn't have legal backing, but because I could speak for myself. The mediator started with the usual buzzwords: family unity, emotional health, sibling equity. I didn't wait. "I'm not here to help co-parent Wesley's children," I said. "I'm here for Miles and Eva. They're my focus, period. I'm not a step-parent, I'm not a donor, and I'm absolutely not your personal ATM." Laurel tried to pivot. "They see each other as siblings, Jared. You're acting like they're from different homes." "They are from different homes," I said flatly. "That was your call." Finally, Wesley chimed in. "You keep making this about money. That's not the point. It's about doing what's right." "Then why are you expecting me to pay for what belongs to you?" His jaw tightened, but he didn't speak. I laid the stack of documents on the table, chronologies, chat transcripts, and messages from Laurel and her relatives. I wasn't being cruel. I was being exact. There's a difference. The mediator gave a subtle nod. Laurel walked out silently. Wesley followed her, equally wordless. The quiet that lingered after the mediation didn't signal peace. It felt more like a deadlock, not because they had some epiphany, but because they had no idea what to do next. A day or two before the school fundraiser trip, I gathered the twins for a talk. "Miles, Ava, you earned this trip. Be proud of that. You don't need to justify it to anyone." Eva looked up from her cereal. "Cassidy cried when she found out we were going." I nodded calmly. "I know. But what happens in someone else's house isn't your responsibility. Just be yourselves. That's always enough." Miles narrowed his eyes slightly, like he was trying to understand the bigger picture. "Are they upset with you?" he asked. "They're confused," I said. "But I'm not. And that's what matters." The next morning, Laurel sent a message. "Been doing some thinking. Can we meet? Just talk. No drama." We arranged to meet at a cafe near her office. She looked different, less combative, more worn down. "I still disagree with the way you handled it," she began, "but I think I understand now." I listened without saying a word. "I wanted things to be fair for all the kids," she continued. "But now I realize I was asking you to fix a problem that isn't yours to solve." I didn't gloat. I just said, "I appreciate that." Her eyes stayed on her coffee cup. Blaming you was easier than facing the fact that Wesley and I took on more than we can handle. That's between you two, I replied. It doesn't involve me. She gave a slow nod. You weren't the villain. I just hated that you refused to compromise. I compromised plenty, I said. You just didn't notice. Until I stopped. And that was the end of it. No drawn-out apology. Just an understanding that neither of us had the energy to keep dragging each other into a losing battle. As she got up to leave, she said, I respect you for setting your boundary. Then she walked away. The morning of the trip, Miles and Eva were buzzing with excitement. I dropped them off early, and they bolted toward their friends without hesitation. Eva turned around and shouted, Love you, Daddy! Miles gave me a cool thumbs up, calm and self-assured, just like I used to be. I stayed parked for a few extra minutes after they disappeared inside. Not because I was feeling sentimental, but because I felt something rare, genuine contentment. That had always been the aim. And then, things shifted. A few days after the trip, on my usual pickup day, the twins came out smiling and energetic, but Laurel wasn't there. Wesley stood by the curb, looking drained. Hey, he said. Laurel's not feeling well. She asked me to let you know she'll be in touch. He didn't offer details, and I didn't ask. 3 days later, Laurel texted, We're taking a break. Wesley moved out. He's figuring things out. The kids are okay. He took Logan and Cassidy. For now, just them. That was it. The quiet unraveling of the life she once said was her happily ever after. I never replied. From what I later heard, the usual things surfaced. Money arguments, parenting disagreements, emotional distance. She tried to keep her household running like a well-oiled team, but he had checked out. It didn't surprise me. Starting over is easy. Holding it together? That's the real test. One night, Miles asked, Are Logan and Cassidy gone? We don't see them at Mom's anymore. Maybe, I answered. He gave a small shrug. I like it better when it's just us. I smiled. Good. That time matters. He nodded and went back to his video game. In the end, I didn't have to fight to get peace back. I just stopped bankrolling dysfunction. Laurel left our family in pursuit of the version of love she thought she deserved. She built a picture-perfect blended home she couldn't emotionally or financially maintain. And when it all started to crumble, she looked to me to keep it from collapsing. I chose not to. I kept my attention on the twins, held firm to my boundaries, and refused to cave. In the end, that turned out to be enough. This story has come to an end. What's your opinion? Share it in the comments, my friend. And if you like this story, check out other exciting videos on my channel. I'll say goodbye until the next video. See you.